Hello? Well, if you're hearing this, then chances are you made a very poor career choice. I'm just kidding. I'm here to kind of help settle you down and talk you through some of the things you can expect to see here during your first week. Now for closure, I want you to forget the previous location. You know, some people still have a somewhat negative impression on the company and such, and the old location was, pretty much left to rot. But I want to reassure you, Fazbear Entertainment is committed to family, fun, and above all, safety. With that being said, this place should be the safest one on Earth. The new animatronics are pretty exciting. Facial recognition, advanced mobility. The most important thing though, they're all tied into some sort of criminal database, so they can detect a predator from a mile away. Heck, we should be paying them to guard you. Isn't that funny? Remember though, no new system comes without its kinks. There was another guard here that worked at this location. He finished his week, but then he complained about conditions. The same thing happened to him that took place in the previous location he worked at. What I mean by that is that the new animatronics seemingly moved around the place. Now, with the new programming, that should be impossible, but the working theory is that they were never given a proper night mode. So, when it gets quiet, they think they're in the wrong room, and they try to go find where people are. In this case, that is your office. But we have a temporary solution for that. Do you remember how the robots in the previous location mistakenly saw you as an endoskeleton without his costume on? But these happen to have the same glitch in their system. So we've given you an empty Freddy Fazbear head that you can put on at any time. That way, you think you're one of them, and it will go away. Problem solved. Use it carefully though, as it's kind of hard to breathe in it, and the odor isn't the nicest. But it's better than nothing. Oh yeah, you also may have noticed that the building no longer has any door lock buttons. That is also why I mentioned the Freddy Fazbear trick. It's because while you can't block them out of your way, you can fool them. They will most likely enter your office for a bit, but no worries, the trick should do it. Well, while you have no doors, you can at least still have light. Well, I think that's it. You should be golden. Check the lights, put on the Freddy Fazbear head if you need to. Piece of cake. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. seems like the first night wasn't really a problem, eh? All of them had to play hard, I guess. By now I'm sure you noticed the older model sitting in the back room. You should remember them from the previous location, but we only use them for parts now. The idea at first was to upgrade them with newer technology, but they were just so ugly, you know? And that smell. So the company decided to go in a whole new direction and make them super kid-friendly. The older ones shouldn't be able to walk around, but if they do, the whole pretty head trick should work on them too. I love those old characters. Remember Foxy the Pirate? Oh, wait, Foxy. Oh yeah, Foxy. Hey listen, that one has been a bit squishy lately. I'm not sure the pretty head trick will work on Foxy. If for some reason he activates during the night, and you see him standing at the far end of the hall, just flash your light at him from time to time. Those older models would always get disoriented with bright lights. It would cause a system restart or something. Come to think of it, that glitch should probably have carried over to the new models too. So you might want to try it on the newer Foxy as well. It should make her back up into the Pirate's Cove. One more thing, don't forget to check the music box. I'll be honest, I never liked that puppet thing. It's always thinking and go anywhere. But Freddy Master should fool it, so just don't forget the music box. Anyway, I'm sure it won't be a problem. You've dealt with these guys before. Have a good night and talk to you tomorrow. Hello? See, I told you you wouldn't have any problems. Did, Foxy ever appear in the hallway? Probably not. I was just curious. Like I said, he was always my favorite. You probably noticed the new Foxy, right? They thought the first one was too scary, so they redesigned him to be more kid-friendly and now put her in the kids' cove. To keep the toddlers entertained, you know. But kids these days just can't keep their hands to themselves. The staff have literally put Foxy back together several times already. I'm not sure for how long they'll keep this break and fix dance. Oh, hey, before I go, I wanted to ease your mind about some of the rumors you may have heard lately. You know how these local spooky stories come and go and barely mean anything. I can personally reassure you that whatever they're talking about, however tragic it may be, has nothing to do with us or the company. It's all just rumors, reporters trying to make a buck, you know. Our guard during the day has reported nothing unusual, and he's on watch from opening to close. Okay, well, anyway, hang in there, and I'll talk with you tomorrow.